Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. And by the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission advocates on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to now introduce you to a couple of women who are here to represent Store to Door of Oregon. And here to represent them, I have Kirsten Ware. You are the Executive Director. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And Amanda Olson, the Volunteer and Outreach Manager.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So Store to Door, I have heard about, and I am aware of it and some of the work that you do, but I don't know much about how long it's been around or what you know, why it got started. Can you fill me in on any of that?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
So Store to Door started 28 years ago in Northwest Portland. It was really a grassroots effort where the community there recognized that they were having a very difficult time getting groceries. You know, they couldn't rely on friends or family.
We're talking about people who
older
are
adults and
mostly homebound.
Yes,
and
absolutely,
yeah, okay.
homebound older adults. And so we had 5 volunteers come together, and they started the Store to Door organization and the program, and they served, in their first year, they served 25 older adults. This year alone, we're going to be serving 635.
That's a major growth,
homebound
yeah.
elders and people with disabilities. So that's really the beginning for us. And for many years, we were incredibly, so we're all volunteer-based, right? And our mission is to support independent living for the homebound seniors and people with disabilities by providing an affordable, really personal grocery shopping and delivery program. Right. And as I said, it's volunteer-based, so we couldn't do what we do without that support of hundreds and hundreds of volunteers.
You know, and most nonprofits use volunteers to some extent. Some use them a whole lot more than others, and yours is one of those that really depends on it.
Absolutely.
So you, Amanda, are the volunteer coordinator, or manager. Tell me, if somebody wanted to be involved in this, you would be the person they would contact?
Yeah, so it's very easy. Just communicate with the organization, either finding us on our website. You can find us at the grocery store when we're shopping, and you can see firsthand what the whole thing looks like. It's a big production for sure.
I want to ask you a little bit more about volunteering there in a minute, but you provided a video that I'm told really gives a good overview of how this program works. So do you mind, is there anything we need to know about it? It's just a pretty good overview?
A volunteer made this video for us, and it's showing a lot of our volunteers in the office, at the grocery store, and making their delivery. So it's a good capture of the day by day.
Great. Well, I say let's roll it now.
Let's do that.
Good morning. This is Elizabeth calling from Store to Door to see if you have an order this week.
My name's Laura, and I'm an order taker.
I'm Owen, and
I'm Marshall, and we are volunteer shoppers.
I come in and shop for seniors who are homebound.
I volunteer to drive the groceries, do different routes, get to meet a lot of very interesting people.
Well, I think the idea of allowing people to age in place in their own homes is such an important idea.
And so if getting food to them can do that, can accomplish that, then I think it's a real important purpose and organization.
The organization has been around for a long time, and they do an amazing job, and the people that work with them are amazing.
I think it's a great organization because I think we're doing a great service for a very large part of the community, the elderly and disabled, who cannot get out, and it's nice for them, I think, to be able to talk to people during the week. Sometimes maybe we're the only person they talk to in a day, and I think they really look forward to the phone calls and the deliveries.
This is very straightforward. We shop based on their requests and what they want.
It's a matter of gathering up, what they want for groceries, but it's more than that.
I love calling Kathy every week. She's in the middle of my list, and she's my longest phone call usually, because she's so happy every time I call her, and she always has a funny story. She orders almost the same thing every time, so it's nice if we're going down the list, if I'll say, well, do you need such and such this week because you haven't ordered it yet. And I think she likes that. I think she likes knowing that, that I remember her, and she definitely remembers me.
Okay, great. All right, well, listen, you take care. I'll talk to you next week.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Wow. Let me make sure I understand. So these are mostly people who are homebound, seniors or people with disabilities. How many of those people somewhat depend on you as their connection to the world?
Yeah. Well, 1 in 6 older adults suffer from social isolation, and we know that with social isolation we have high incidence or higher incidence of you have higher incidence of depression, poor self-care, malnutrition, which can also lead to cardiovascular disease, stroke, or premature institutionalization. So that's the downside of it. And then along with that, we have women and people with disabilities who are more susceptible to being socially isolated. Door-to-door's population is about 76% female.
Oh, really?
And 91% of them live alone. So with living alone, you're susceptible to the social isolation, aging, and then food security. It's found that those who are socially isolated, 1 in 3 are more likely to have food insecurity or experience hunger.
Right. So when your volunteers go out and it sounded like from when they make their phone call, plus when they actually go to the door and deliver it, that connection with somebody outside is really almost as important as the food delivery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I right about that?
Those volunteers, the order takers and the delivery drivers, are the same people our clients see each week, so they have the chance to develop a trusting relationship. They can develop rapport, so that if the client ever needs any more support, they can trust to tell the volunteer that they're having some troubles.
So say a volunteer goes out and they notice something's wrong, something's different.
Absolutely.
This person is acting strangely, like maybe they had a small stroke, or maybe or maybe they've been abused. That happens too. They're in a position where they could help with that, right? Or
Truly.
Connect them with the correct resources or report it, whatever.
Absolutely.
Right?
We're all about, it's obvious that we're there to help bring access to food, but we're also the access to social connection and additional resources.
And I imagine you have connections with other organizations.
Absolutely. We work hand in hand with a number of other wonderful services that serve seniors in Portland. It takes a village. So there's a continuum, and we get to be one really important part of that. But we refer, we have gatekeeper trainings, we prepare our volunteers and provide them with additional information, education to support them in their friendships with their paired, their customer. And they really do, we have story after story of self-advocacy that we're able to really support and bringing in new resources and information for low cost or no cost services that they just didn't know existed or didn't know they could take advantage of.
Do you, Amanda, interview the volunteers that are going to come in?
Yeah, we go through a screening process. So basically, if you were interested in volunteering, you'd come to us. We'd just have a very casual chat to find out what your interests are, what your availability is. We do look for some commitment in terms of time for the order taking and the delivery, just because we want you to have time to develop those relationships.
Right.
And we just want to make sure it's a good fit for you. hopefully you understand what our values are as an organization, and you can mirror those in your service with us.
What do you look for in a volunteer as far as, I mean, even if they check everything off the list, I mean, when you're interviewing somebody, what do you look for?
We really want them to have the energy and the passion to serve the population we do. There's not a ton of people who have the heart for it or the interest, so
there should be.
There should be, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to interject.
Yes, please
We
do.
live in an age-segregated society, and door-to-door attracts volunteers who love and who really embrace aging and have an affinity for growing older. And we live in a culture that is very ageist and often doesn't want to look at that, and which makes the problem for our clients even more difficult because they're often invisible. They're not seen in community. But we are attracting people who know that about themselves. Like I myself knew, because my grandparents were so instrumental in my development, that I can't live if I don't have the older adult exchange happening. Yeah.
Yes. And what about your volunteers? Do you have older volunteers as well as younger volunteers?
We do. It's all ages. So I've had volunteers who were in their little baby backpacks, and all the way up to our oldest volunteer, Eleanor, who is 104. Her birthday was in April.
And she's the volunteer.
And
she is a volunteer. She comes every week to the office with her dachshund, Sophie, to take orders.
Brings her dog to work.
So does she do the shopping or does she do the delivery? What does she do?
She does the order taking. So she makes all of her phone calls.
Great.
Yeah, and her clients love hearing from her each week. They've been talking to each other for years now. And when she goes on vacation, sometimes the clients are wondering, where's Eleanor? Where'd she go? When will she be back?
They probably worry about each other.
They care.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful. And it's probably, and I'm sure it is, just as meaningful for the people who are volunteering as for the people on the receiving end, because that's usually the way it is. If you get in a good volunteer position, where it's meaningful to you, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, we often talk about that, is like, who is the client or who is the recipient of the beneficiary here is very reciprocal in nature.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, how are you supported? How do you keep this funded?
So out of all the contributed income, so we're not really government funded. We don't receive any dollars through the
outside donations.
Absolutely. So we write a lot of grants. About 45% of our contributed income comes from foundations, corporate grants, that type of thing, or foundation grants. And then the corporations are showing up at about 25%, and individuals are also represented at 25%. We get a little bit of in-kind. We have a great partnership with Fred Meyer. They've been our partner since we first began.
I've seen the signs at the store.
Yeah,
I'm always there.
They're tremendous. They really are great to us. They do a ton of in-kind and support.
You can't survive without good community partners. You
no,
really
you can't.
You really can't. Tell me about, you have a gala coming up next month, is it? And so I assume that's one of your fundraisers to help get information out, but also to raise some money.
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about that?
Oh, it's a wonderful culmination, a celebration, our annual fundraiser, Nourish to Flourish, on September 14th at 5:30 p.m. Tickets are $100. We have collected how much in auction items?
In auction items,
$15,000 in auction items.
Wow.
It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, but we have a silent auction with all different types of price points, and a live auction, of course, with trips to Mexico and Italy,
a ping pong party for 30 people.
So if people want to support that or just want to go for a good time, they can go to your website and find out the information there.
Absolutely.
Correct? Okay. And you always have a need for more volunteers, I assume? So,
we do,
Is there any particular area that you need people more than another? So you say you have the order takers, the shoppers, and the delivery people.
That's
right. So any one area that you need more help than
drivers,
sure.
And we reimburse up to 50 cents a mile for the volunteer drivers.
That's good.
We just opened a second store in Beaverton.
Oh, good.
So our operation, we've actually grown our service delivery by 83% in the last 5 years.
So it started in Northwest Portland, right? And now it's most of the Portland metro area?
Yes.
And into East County, where we are today.
Yes, up to 181st.
Okay.
And then a little slice of Beaverton, just
Okay.
a slice in some of Washington County as well.
And you can see the exact boundaries on our website
Okay,
on the client
great.
enrollment page.
Great. Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking about it. I hate driving, but I love shopping.
Yes.
You know, I don't know why. I love to go grocery shopping. I don't know why that is. But, you know, that would be the kind of thing I could see myself doing. So if I were interested, I could go to the website, or I could just contact you and get more information on it. See, what was I going to ask here? You have these are weekly deliveries, correct?
Every single week.
Every
So
single
yeah,
week.
like sometimes people say, well, 635 people, is that a lot? Well, we're talking, you know,
Oh, here's
thousands
some
of
pictures.
deliveries here.
Tell me about this.
10,000.
This is
Oh, this is actually this is Nancy, and she's been with the organization for 7 years.
Wow.
And she's already, the groceries are obviously already shopped, and they're in the bin here, and Nancy's on her way to a client that she's been seeing for several years.
how many different deliveries would she possibly make in a day?
Our volunteers and staff, we have 75% of our deliveries are done by volunteers, and the volunteer load is usually anywhere between one, where there are very few of those, but between 1 and say 5 or 6.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. I
And
mean,
so
that would
she
be
shows
manageable.
up at her
So these are some of
clients'
her
homes.
regular folks that she sees.
And I mean, you can just see how happy
at
that gentleman is.
Yeah, he looks delighted.
Yes. I wish
Like-
everyone greeted me
I
like
know,
that.
It's like, this is the highlight of my day. I love that smile.
Yeah.
Oh, look
and
at
they've gone through, and Nancy will, all of the volunteers, they'll unload every item. They'll open jars and lids. It might be difficult.
Put it away if they want them to
Put it away. Yep.
That's great.
That's
Make sure
right.
they have what they ordered. And so this is one of
Love
your
this
clients or a
picture.
volunteer?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
a client, and you know, one of the things when I see her, I think of, you know, one of our main values, which is dignity, and that's what Store to Door does, is allow people to maintain, you know, the setting of their own choice and live with dignity. And all that choice. And it's not just getting a meal delivered, which we love our buddies at Meals on Wheels. They're a great partner to us.
Right.
Really important service. But you know, we're doing also more than just the food delivery. We're delivering prescriptions and
That's
your
what
favorite
I was going to ask you about.
lipstick. You know,
Yeah, that's great. So there's other household items that somebody might need. I need a new light bulb.
Yeah,
I
pet
need-
supplies. A lot of our
Oh.
clients have cats and
See,
dogs.
and that's interesting because, and Meals on Wheels is great. Meals on Wheels people, there's one
Yeah.
right down the street from us, and I, worked with them a lot, and that's they are also make those connections with people, which is really important.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you can do some cooking on your own and put yourself together, I mean, you have to have more than just the one meal a day. You need other things, and the fact that it's really not just food; it's other things you might need as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty important. if
and
you
the
can't
more
get out there.
visits, the better. You
Yeah.
know, it's our clients. They actually get 3 touches potentially with between the order taker who's calling. So we do 500 outbound calls every week to say, how are you today?
Really?
And then if you have an order, we place it. And if you have the order, the shopper might not be able to find what they're looking for. So they're going to call you and say, I can't find this item. Would you like a substitute? You know?
Right, or I can find the low-fat version, but not the regular, or
exactly.
this size instead of this size.
Exactly.
Oh,
And then
that's
you've got your
interesting.
driver. And
Yeah.
so the driver and the order taker those are people who've been assigned to you, and those are typically very long-term and the same person, the same time. So that's kind of back to your other question about intersecting with us as a volunteer, experiencing Store to Door. Shopping is a great way to just get to know us, to come in and experience what that's like. And oftentimes we'll see volunteers sort of move along the lines of starting out as a shopper.
I
And
wondered
moving into
about that,
other
or any one of those positions, you could go from one to the other, right? I mean,
Yeah, we love all of our volunteers to try at least each role once, just to see what it's like on the other side, what it's like to shop an order once you've taken it. And it's really enlightening. Each role has a different energy. They're all very fun and positive, but it's fun to be a part of each team at least once.
I can see how it would be. And how many volunteers do you think you have? Did I ask that already?
No, you didn't.
No, last year alone we had 905 volunteers.
Yes.
Wow.
It's
That's
amazing.
It's equal to over $400,000 in volunteer time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. way to go, volunteers.
And a lot of hours, a
Yeah.
whole lot of hours. But, you know, the hours, like you had pointed out before, it's so reciprocal. It's so re-energizing. It's
manageable. You're not asking for a lot.
No.
You know, you're not asking for a lot. So
very well defined.
Yeah, and I think that's makes it easier for people when they know I don't have to commit, hours and hours and hours to make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, I can make a difference by just a few hours, maybe every week.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, and even the order taking, you can do that remotely. You can do that from your couch in your pajamas.
Nice.
Yeah, or work.
Yeah.
So we make it pretty flexible.
So you don't
for
have to
that
come
one.
in to do that. Oh, well, heck. That's great.
Let's sign you up, Monica.
Yeah, I know. You know, I talk to a lot of nonprofits, and there's a lot of them that I really think, oh, that would be a great place. This one especially interests me, and because you make it easy.
Yeah.
You make it easy, and there's that connection with people. And I too, love seniors, and now that I actually am one myself, I'm hoping that if I need these kind of things later, that there will be organizations like yours around that can help out if needed, because I don't know what people do if they don't know about them.
Right.
If they don't know that these resources are available to them, and the fact that you are able to connect them with other resources if necessary, I think is huge. It must be a huge consolation or reassurance to families, maybe that don't live in the area, to know that there's somebody that's going to be checking on them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I would feel awful if I had a parent or a grandparent or somebody who was alone in another city, and I didn't know who was checking on them regularly. That would be really, really difficult. So that in itself is a huge, huge benefit.
Absolutely. It just brings to mind a story with Nancy. I went on a ride along when I first joined Store to Door 5 years ago, and we had a call about this particular client. She was not doing well. She was having some mental health issues.
Okay.
And so Nancy had called, we did the gatekeeper call, and then this was the week after we were coming back to the home to deliver some groceries, and this was my first ride along. And so she had debriefed me and said, yes, we've taken care of this. The person who answered the door was her daughter, who didn't live here. She's from San Francisco. So from our advocacy call, we got the daughter to come back into town. She reassured us that everything was better now, that her mom needed to see the doctor, that she didn't know what she would have done without our help. And she came outside, and I'll never forget it, because the daughter was saying, thank you so much. And Nancy said to her, I've been delivering to your mom for the last 6 years, so I knew something was up. And it's like what Amanda was talking about with that trusted friendship, that they trust us and we know them.
Yeah.
We know them.
That's invaluable.
Yeah.
That's invaluable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, that's a good thing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how much that daughter must have appreciated that.
So much.
It can be little things that are off that, for a senior or a disabled person, but it takes somebody who's around them often enough to recognize that.
Yeah, to know. And then the reward for Nancy. Nancy, I know, felt really good
I'm
about
sure
that too.
She'll be there forever.
Let's hope.
Thank goodness for great volunteers. Well, thank you both. We're just about out of time. Anything else we need to know that I've forgotten to ask you about, or that we've forgotten to mention tonight? It's an incredible organization. I hope you're around for another 28 years. Is that what you said?
That's
Yeah,
right.
I hope you're around for another 28 years, and I hope that we get some more volunteers out of this, and maybe some more donations too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. And thanks so much for watching Community Hotline. Great opportunities available here, so be sure to check it out. I'm Monica Weitzel. We'll be here next week. Good night.
Oh my gosh.
Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart, The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. And by the Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission advocates on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.